Toyota has come a very long way in NASCAR. Since their first season in the Cup Series back in 2007, they have totaled 168 victories. It's crazy to say this, but some of y'all watching weren't even born when they came into the Cup Series, and let me just say, their first season was very interesting to say the least, but that's for another video. Today I wanted to discuss the state of Toyota's future in NASCAR, and I'm not saying they're gonna leave. That's not gonna happen. They've invested millions upon millions of dollars. I am talking about their teams. With the news of Kyle Busch leaving Joe Gibbs Racing to go drive for the Chevy team Richard Childress Racing, it's left a lot of fans wondering what the future holds for Toyota and their Cup Series teams. And not even just that, but also what is the development plan for the future? I'm just gonna straight up say it right now. It's time for Toyota to rebuild. We'll just go in numerical order. Let's start off with Denny Hamlin. He is now over his 40s and has been driving for Joe Gibbs Racing since 2006. His average finish throughout the season has been a 17.8, which is the second worst of his career. By his usual standards, he was off during the regular season, but he seemed to have picked it up a tad during the playoffs, so you can't say he's totally washed here, but age is definitely starting to take effect. We saw it with Jimmy Johnson, we've seen it with Jeff Gordon, it just happened. Father Time is always going to win. Denny Hamlin is still good, but just not as good as he used to be. Who knows, he might go on this tremendous playoff run and end up winning his first championship in 2022, or he might return to his true form in 2023. But we do know this. In an interview on Dale Jr. Download when they were talking about his age, he had said that the numbers would suggest you got about 2 years. A Hamlin retirement might come a lot sooner than some people are thinking, not just because of the age, but now he owns the Toyota sister team of Joe Gibbs Racing, 2311. Hamlin and FedEx agreed to a multi-year renewal with Joe Gibbs back in 2021, so while he'll still be with the team for a few more seasons, Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing need to put a plan together to either get one of their young prospects to come to replace him, or perhaps land a big name. Kyle Busch's first season with Joe Gibbs Racing back in 2008 was also the first year Toyota was in the fold. It's safe to say they accomplished a lot together, but now the pair have decided to go their separate ways after it was announced Kyle Busch would sign with Richard Childress Racing. Richard Childress can definitely relate to Kyle Busch more than Joe Gibbs ever could, because at the heart of it, Richard Childress is a racer. The loss of Kyle Busch is going to be felt immediately. Toyota's David Wilson had even said himself that he literally could rebuild an organization if somebody took a chance that hasn't had one of those types of drivers. So it's not like they just let this driver walk out the door. I've seen a lot of people criticizing Toyota, saying how dumb could they be to let Kyle Busch walk away after all he's done. Trust me, they tried everything they could. At the end of the day, it just didn't make any business sense. It's just one of those relationships that ran its course. I would feel a different type of way if we were losing the 2018 Kyle Busch, but 2022 Kyle Busch, while still good at times, has been extremely inconsistent. We'll see if he's rejuvenated with his new team, but as for the 18, what do they do now? I think the obvious replacement for him is going to be Ty Gibbs. He has shown a ton of potential in the Xfinity series over the past couple of seasons, and while he can be a very polarizing driver at times, you cannot deny his talent. Not only is his salary going to be a lot cheaper, but he is the grandson of Joe Gibbs. It is going to be a much easier transition. Since joining the team in 2019, Martin Truex Jr. has won 12 races in the span of 4 seasons. Unfortunately, in 2022, not only has he been winless, but he missed the NASCAR playoffs. They were inside the top 5 in regular season points, so it's not like they were terrible. You can blame that more on the system. In 2 of his 4 seasons with the team, he has made the championship 4. But just like Denny Hamlin, he is over his 40s, and eventually Father Time will take effect. It's already been confirmed he'll be back for the 2023 season, but after that, who knows? It's the same situation Toyota will have to face when replacing Denny Hamlin. Either get a big name or get somebody from the pipeline. The only difference is timing. I could see Martin Truex Jr. retiring a lot sooner than Denny Hamlin does. I'll go over these teams briefly. They already have their drivers of the future. Christopher Bell in the 20, he's expected to return, and he'll be in that ride for a long time, I think. After a horrible start to 2022, where at one point he was below the top 30 in points, he turned it around early on in the season, eventually getting a win and locking himself into the playoffs. And as of this upload, he is the only driver to lock himself into the round of 12. I think that team is loaded for the future, and based on his early playoff performance, he might be a championship threat. That was crazy to say at the beginning of the year, but he's been that good. The most recent winner as of this upload, Bubba Wallace, proved once again that he does have talent. I don't think he's a championship driver by any means, but he's certainly not a NASCAR bust. Already 2 career wins with 2311. Yes, this one was in the 45, but he's expected to retain the 23 for 2023. That whole group has definitely hit their stride during the second half of the season, as in the last 10 Cup Series races as of this upload, Bubba Wallace has the best average finish amongst the field. And it's not all on the pit crew. One of Bubba Wallace's criticisms is that he can be extremely inconsistent at times, but based on the last 10 races, it looks like they have improved that as well. Look for the 23 team and Bubba Wallace to make the playoffs in 2023. And finally, the 45 is still a mystery. Denny Hamlin has said if Kurt Busch wants to return in 2023, the ride is his. Don't forget that Tyler Reddick signed with the team during the summer to join in 2024. He has a contract to drive for Richard Childress Racing in 2023, and with the signing of Kyle Busch, it's obviously not going to be in the 8. He's either going to race for Richard Childress and their third team, or perhaps a potential buyout might be in the works for him to come a year early. But before all of that takes place, you have to see what Kurt Busch decides to do. When you look at Toyota's 6 Cup Series entries, 4 of them are going to have to look for drivers for the long term. It's already happening with the 18, and pretty soon it's going to happen with the 11, 19, and 45. It's a similar situation that Chevy and Hendrick Motorsports had to go through a few years ago. They lost those marquee drivers over the course of a few years and had to replace them internally. Drivers such as Chase Elliott, William Byron, and at one point Alex Bowman were in Chevy's development program, and then they eventually landed a big name in Kyle Larson. Toyota's already going in a similar route. Tyler Reddick is signed to a deal, and Ty Gibbs coming through the development program is expected to take over the 18. As for the 11 and 19, who knows? Outside of the Cup Series teams rebuilding, you have to also look at Toyota's development program. Kyle Busch Motorsports had a huge part in that, providing rides for drivers that were up and coming, but now that he's moving on to RCR and Chevy, that team is gone. Toyota could do one of two things: invest more into the truck teams that are already still in the series, or perhaps invest a lot more into their Xfinity program. Only time will tell if Toyota will have a successful transition from its older drivers. It doesn't matter how successful a team or a manufacturer is, you can't beat Father Time in the end. Every organization is always eventually going to have to go through a rebuild, and in the case of Toyota in NASCAR, it's just simply that time. Let me know down in the comments below who you think the future Toyota drivers are going to be, and what they can do to improve their development program. And once again, that'll do it for another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.